In this episode, you'll discover how your energy shapes your year and how to reset it before the next one begins. Because how you finish this year is how you'll begin the next. Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast, a podcast helping women in career and life transitions achieve clarity on their next steps so they can transform uncertainty into an energizing next chapter. I'm your host, Kavita Ahuja, and the founder of It's My Time Now Coaching. If you're wondering what's next in your career or life, you are in the right place. Through solo and guest episodes, you'll gain practical tips, tools, and inspiration to help you uncover blocks, gain confidence, and be, do, and have what you want. I rediscovered myself after the age of 50, and I know you can too. It's my time now to help you do just that. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. In this episode, you'll discover how the energy you've been carrying, the thoughts, emotions, and actions that have shaped your year, can either hold you back or propel you forward. We'll explore how to reflect on this past year through the lens of energy, recognize what's been draining you, and learn simple ways to shift into greater clarity, confidence, and momentum as you close out the year. And don't forget to stay till the end for a wonderful offer for you, my loyal listener. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. I'm your host, Kavita Ahuja, and the founder of It's My Time Now Coaching. And welcome also to a new month of possibilities. As the seasons start to change and we move into the end of the year, it's really hard to believe, as always. And I've been thinking a lot about transitions, and not just the kind that show up on the calendar, but the ones that are happening within us. Every year at this time, there's a natural pause. We start reflecting on what's worked and what hasn't, and where we might want to go next. And it's a season of wrapping things up and at the same time, planting seeds for what's to come. And often with that reflection comes resistance. You might feel tired, restless, or uncertain about what's next. And maybe you've had a big year, some wins and some losses, and now you're wondering, what do I want my 2026 to look like? What needs to shift so I can feel more aligned and more alive and less like I'm just getting through the days? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Transitions, even positive ones, can bring up a lot of emotion. So today I want to talk to you about something that's helped me and so many of my clients move through these transitions with more clarity, less resistance, and really a renewed sense of confidence. It's the concept of energy, but not in that woo-woo sense you might be picturing. When I talk about energy, I'm referring to your capacity to think, to feel, and to act. It's really the invisible fuel behind everything you do. How you show up at work, how you respond to stress, how you lead, and how you navigate change. We all know that feeling of being either drained or on fire, right? That's energy. It's not mystical. It's actually measurable, it's observable, and it directly impacts your performance and your relationships and your sense of fulfillment. In fact, the type of energy that you bring into a situation can completely change the outcome. Two people, for example, can face the same challenge. One can feel stuck and defeated, while the other one feels curious and hopeful. What's different isn't the situation, it's the energy that they bring into it. In my coaching work, I use a framework called core energy coaching, and it's based on the idea that our thoughts and our emotions and behaviors are all connected, and that each one of us operates from a dominant energy level that shapes how we see the world and how we respond to it. So think of it this way: when you're under stress, your brain releases hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. And these stress hormones help you get through the immediate stress of the situation. And in it's just this kind of situations under when we operate under these kind of situations, it's what we call catabolic energy. It's the kind of energy that helps you power through a tough day or meet deadlines or handle a crisis. It's not bad, it's necessary in short bursts. But if you stay there for too long, it drains you. Catabolic energy narrows your perspective and you start focusing on problems instead of possibilities. On the other hand, when you're calm and present and open, your body releases different hormones like serotonin or dopamine and endorphins. And in these situations, you are working from an anabolic energetic lens. This energy is a building up rather than breaking down type of energy. This is when you become more creative and more empathetic and really more willing to look for solutions instead of blame. So, as we head toward the end of this year, I'd love for you to simply notice, where have you been spending most of your energy? Have you been reacting and pushing or creating and expanding? Have you been operating from stress and control or from trust and curiosity? There's no judgment here. It's just that awareness is always the first step towards change. When I first learned about this concept, it really completely changed the way I saw myself and others, because it really explained why even the most talented leaders, the most capable professionals, can sometimes feel stuck. It's not that they lack skills, it's that their energy is working against them. You might have all the communication and reasoning and analytical skills in the world, but if your energy is reactive and fearful or defensive, those skills will never fully come through. And that's why I love helping my clients identify what kind of energy they're operating from, especially during times of transition. So, I'm going to explain a little bit about the 7 levels of energy, which is in this model. And while I won't go into every detail here, I want to give you a glimpse or a simple sense of what they mean, because chances are you'll recognize yourself in some of them. So, at the lower levels of energy, levels 1 and 2, we find catabolic energy. Level 1 may sound like I lose. It shows up as apathy or fear or self doubt. You might feel helpless or stuck, like life is happening to you. Level 2 sounds like I win and you lose. It's often fueled by frustration or resentment or control. And you might push harder, get defensive, or blame others when things don't go as planned. It can get results, but it's exhausting to sustain. Then we start moving into the higher and more anabolic levels of energy where growth and creativity start to emerge. At level 3, for example, you begin to shift into I win, and if you win too, great. You start rationalizing and coping, and you can manage situations more calmly, but still there's some effort involved. Level 4 is a level of compassion, and that's the you win situation. You feel motivated by helping and serving and mentoring or supporting others. Level 5 is opportunity. We both win or we don't play. This is where curiosity and confidence and collaboration live. And you start to see every challenge as a chance to grow. And as you go higher into level 6 and level 7, that energy feels even lighter and more freer and more expansive. It's that sense of flow and connection and purpose where things just seem to click effortlessly. Here's the key: none of these levels are good or bad. We all move through them every day, sometimes within a single hour. And the goal isn't to eliminate lower energy levels, it's just to become aware of them and to choose the energy that serves you best in each moment. I've really seen incredible transformations happen when people start to recognize and do this. For example, I once worked with a senior leader who came to me about after being completely burned out. She thought that her stress was purely about her workload. Too many projects, too many people pulling at her all the time. But as we unpacked things, it became clear that her energy was actually catabolic. She was operating from frustration and control and the fear of letting others down. And once she learned to notice that pattern, she began to make small changes. She set boundaries and delegated more and carved out more time for herself. And her energy started shifting towards compassion and collaboration. Within months, her relationships had improved, and both at work and at home, and she was leading from a place of calm confidence instead of reactivity. And that's what awareness does. It really does create choice. So, as you're listening right now, maybe take a moment to think about your own past year. When have you felt most alive and creative and open? And when have you felt most drained, defensive, or disconnected? And what might that be telling you about the energy you've been operating from? So now that you had a sense of how these energy levels show up, let's talk about how you can actually use this awareness, especially as you think about where you are in your own transitions right now. Because the truth is, every transition begins with an internal shift before an external one. You can set new goals, change jobs, start projects, but if the energy behind those actions doesn't change, you'll keep creating from the same place. And if that's the case, the results will be the same. That's why I often remind my clients that before you plan your next move, let's check your energy. Are you moving from fear or from inspiration? From I have to prove something or from I'm ready to grow? From I'm stuck or from I'm curious about what's next? It makes all the difference in the world. And when I work with clients who are in this midst of a career or a life transition, I see this pattern again and again. One client, for example, she came to me convinced that she needed to switch her job. She felt constantly drained, and she was certain the problem was her boss, her workload, and her company culture. But when we did her energy leadership index assessment, which measures how much you show up in both normal circumstances and under stress, what emerged was really fascinating. Her stress wasn't just about work, it was about how she was approaching work. She was living in a constant state of tension, operating from what we'd call level 2 energy, frustration, and control. And through coaching, she began to shift slowly but powerfully towards higher levels of energy. She built new habits. She started taking short pauses during the day. She started delegating more and setting boundaries that respected her time and well being. And she started to feel lighter and more creative and more in control of her mindset. Eventually, she realized she didn't need a completely new job. She just needed a new way to respond to the people and circumstances around her using an anabolic energy lens. I see this happen often in leadership too. Leaders who stay in that lower catabolic energy tend to react. They're constantly firefighting, trying to fix problems or proving themselves. But leaders who raise their energy see the big picture. They empower others, they collaborate, and they innovate. And it's the same in our personal lives. When we meet conflict at home with defensiveness, we stay stuck. But when we shift to compassion or curiosity, asking, how can we both win here? Everything changes. So, how do we do this in practice? As I said before, the first step is awareness. Just noticing your energy changes everything. When you catch yourself reacting to things, maybe you're tense before a meeting, frustrated with somebody, or doubting yourself, pause and ask yourself, what energy am I bringing into this situation right now? If it feels heavy or draining or limited, that's a sign that you're in the lower levels. Your emotions can always tell you how you're feeling. But don't judge it, just notice. Then gently shift by asking yourself, who do I need to be right now to approach this from my highest energy? Sometimes that simple question helps you step out of reaction and into choice. You can also make small physical or mental resets. You can take a walk or a few deep breaths before jumping into the next task. You can write down one or two things that you're grateful for. You can replace language like I have to or I can't with I get to or I choose to. These may sound small, but they have an enormous effect. You're literally retraining your brain to release more anabolic or constructive energy. And the more often you do that, the more it becomes your default. So, since we're talking about endings and beginnings, this is also the perfect time to reflect. So, as you're listening, I'd like you again to reflect and consider a few questions. What energy has defined your year so far? Have you been in more reaction mode, operating from stress or control? Or have you been creating from curiosity, compassion, and possibility? And what has that energy created for you? How has it shown up in your relationships, your work, or your sense of fulfillment? And most importantly, what energy do you want to bring into the new year? Because how you end the year is how you begin the next one. And it's not about being perfect, my friend. It's about being present. It's about learning to pause and reflect and choose your energy intentionally before the next chapter begins. I often remind my clients that our external transitions, the job change, the new role, the reinvention are really mirrors of what's happening inside. And when you shift your energy, you change the way you see yourself. And when that happens, the opportunities around you change too. You start to attract different people, different conversations, and different outcomes. Not because the world changed overnight, but because you did. And I'll be honest, this isn't just something that I teach, it's something I really try to practice every single day. There are moments, of course, when I find myself slipping into fear or frustration, level 1 or level 2 energy. And when that happens, I often try and pause and ask myself, why am I feeling this way? What story am I telling myself right now? Then, if I can, I take a walk, I breathe deeply, or simply remind myself of what's working, what I'm grateful for, and honestly, instantly, the energy shifts. Suddenly, what's felt like a problem becomes an opportunity, and what felt heavy starts to feel light. And that's really the beauty of this work because awareness doesn't mean you'll never dip into lower energy again. It just means that you'll recognize it faster and you'll have tools to rise out of it sooner. So, if what I've shared today resonates with you, and if you're reflecting on your own year and thinking, I want to understand where I'm operating from and how to move forward with more intention and confidence, I'd love to support you. One of the most powerful tools I use with my clients is called the Energy Leadership Index Assessment, or the ELI. This is a research backed assessment that measures how you show up energetically, both in your everyday life and under stress. It gives you a snapshot of your patterns, how you see the world, how you respond to challenges, and where you can shift to unlock more of your potential. When we review your results together, you'll start to notice only where your energy is going, but also how to raise it. You learn how to catch yourself before burnout, how to approach transitions with creativity instead of fear, and how to end this year and begin the next with clarity, confidence, and renewed purpose. So, if that sounds like something you're ready for, I have a very special offer for you just for this month of November. If you'd like to learn more about how the energy levels that you're operating at right now and how to shift to a more anabolic perspective, I invite you to conduct an ELI assessment. It's an online assessment which takes only about 20 minutes to complete and is followed by a 90-minute debrief where I will take you through an in-depth review of how much of each 7 levels of energy you possess and what may be contributing to that in your life and career. And for this month only, I'm offering the ELI assessment and debrief at 50% off the regular rate. If you're interested, email me at Kavita at itsmytimenowcoaching.com today with the word Eli, E-L-I, and we will set you up for 50% off the Eli assessment and debrief and set you up for success in the new year. Remember, send me an email at Kavita at itsmytimenowcoaching.com with the word Eli, and we will get you started today, only until November 30th. So as we close, my friend, I'll leave you with this thought. Every external transition starts as an inner one. And when you choose to reset your energy, you're not just changing how you feel, you're changing what becomes possible in your life. So if you're ready to start your own transition from awareness to action, I'd love to help you. You can book a free discovery call with me at the link in the show notes, and together we explore where you are now, where you want to go, and how to shift your energy to get there. It could start with the Eli assessment and debrief, which again is 50% off right now until the end of November. Because when you align your energy with your goals, the possibilities expand in ways you might not ever have imagined. Thank you so much for listening. And here's to ending this year really, really strong.